In one of these endeavors, Katniss... Okay then. Hey fellow fiction fanatics, I'm Chase. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up. I was able to complete 4 books this month, along with 4 of my TBR challenges. Alright, let's get into it. So the first book I read this month was Graceling by Kristen Kishore. This is the story of Katza. She is a Graceling, which means she was born with 2 different colored eyes and an extreme talent. In this world, Gracelings are looked down upon, and the Gracelings are sent to the king to determine if he has any use for them. Unfortunately for Katza, she is gifted with a killing grace, and the king uses her to do his bidding. So as an act of rebellion, Katza forms the Council, which is a group of people that go against the king to bring justice to the people. In one of these endeavors, Katza rescues the Lynid grandfather Tilith, and this leads her on a path that she never expected. It's just where the story begins. So I gave this book 4 stars. I just didn't really love Katza as a character. She didn't appeal to me. I just couldn't really get behind some of her ideologies. I was interested in her story, but I just didn't really like her as a character. I really enjoyed the story and the plot of this book, but to me the romance seemed like an afterthought, and I would have loved to see the romance develop throughout the story, rather than just all of a sudden Katza realizes, oh, I love this person. For me, that came out of nowhere, and I didn't really appreciate it. Although I enjoyed the love interest, I didn't think it was necessary or needed, and I would have loved to see a friendship grow between them and then maybe them develop feelings towards the end. So I really didn't enjoy the romance of this book. One thing that I actually really enjoyed was the villain. I thought he was terrifying because he had so much power. To me, that was the best part of the book, trying to figure out how they would even be able to come up against him. That was really intriguing and cool about this novel. I felt like this book had a slow start, then at the end there was a lot of different things that happened and were quickly wrapped up. I wish the beginning had been shortened and that the ending had been expanded, and I think that would have really helped this book and would have made it better. This book completed my challenge to read a book that's been on my TBR for a very long time. So the next book I read is Chaotic Good by Whitney Gardner. I really enjoyed this book. So this is the story of Cameron. She absolutely loves cosplay and has an amazing talent for making costumes, and she wants to get into Cal Arts. So over the summer she needs to complete her portfolio so that she can have it reviewed at the end of the summer. She goes into the comic shop to get some inspiration. So there's this employee, Brody. He tries to help her. He's like, you won't be into any of those. Let me lead you to the girls section. And then when she tells him that she's interested in cosplay and that she's here to get ideas, he tells her that she's not a real fan, and as anyone would be, she's ticked off by this, so she leaves. In order to make a point, she dresses up in her twin brother's clothes and goes back to the store. She's amazed that she could just waltz right in and not have to defend her nerd status to anyone, and without intending to, she's drafted into a D&D campaign, and thus begins her chaotic summer that she won't soon forget. I really enjoyed this novel. I loved the characters and the plot. I loved all the nerdy aspects about the cosplay and the D&D, which I absolutely love everything about those things, so I loved seeing that in this novel. But to me, the resolution seemed a little rushed. I was just expecting a bit more out of it. It just didn't meet the mark for me. So check out my Goodreads review in the description below to see how I think this book should have ended. Chaotic Good was able to complete my challenge to read a book off my TBR that was chosen by a random number generator. So next up, I read Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This was fantastic. I loved this novel. At first, I was a little intimidated by the size, but the chapters in this are really short and really help you fly through this novel. So this is the story of Zaylee and her brother Zane. They lost their mother to the king's raid, where he tracked down and killed anyone with magic, and magic no longer exists, at least to their knowledge. When someone steals an ancient artifact that may be the key to bringing magic back, these 3 are forced to work together to bring back magic to Orisha. But the Crown Prince Anon is after them, and he is out for their blood. He will do anything and everything to make sure magic doesn't come back to Orisha, and this was such a good novel. I loved every minute of it. I thought the magic was so cool and intriguing. I loved learning about the gods and the diviners. It was just so cool. This was an action-packed book filled with adventure and fighting and magic, and it was just epic. I thought the characters in this book were so good, and the character development that happened was fantastic. I love that this was not a simple task and that there were ups and downs for everyone involved. It was so intriguing, and I can't express how much I enjoyed this book. Oh my gosh, that ending. I don't even fully know what happened, but I am so excited to get my hands on the sequel, and I can't wait to read more in this series. And by reading this, I completed my challenge to read a book with 5 or more words in the title. And the last book I was able to get to was Nimona. This is a graphic novel that I gave 5 stars. So this is about the young shapeshifter Nimona. Nimona wants to be the sidekick for the notorious Ballister Blackheart. He begrudgingly accepts, not really thinking much of it, and as the story goes along, we realize that Nimona's a little more villainous than our villain himself. It was really great to see a story told from the villain's perspective, and it really made you think, are the good guys really good? This graphic novel is so easy to fly through. It is so good. I love the plot, I love the characters, I love the artwork, I love the snarky humor. I love this graphic novel immensely, and I would definitely recommend picking it up because it is worth the read. And I'm using Nimona to complete my 5-star prediction challenge. Alright, so those are all the books that I've read this month. I'd love to know what books you were able to read this month, and if you read any of these, I'd love to know your opinions about them. Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to share the love. I'll see you next time. Bye!